What is prototypal inheritance in JavaScript, right? So in programming, what happens is often we have a scenario, we want to extend something without copy pasting it. Let me show you that scenario here. Let's suppose I'm creating a game or something where I have some general category called animal, and then I have some specific category, right? So ignore these things for now. I'll get back to them. So I have some general properties, cat, dog. Okay. So I want to inherit, right? I want to extend the animal property inside it because cat is obviously an animal, dog is obviously an animal. So how can I do without copy pasting these properties? That is where the concept of prototype inheritance comes in. Okay, that is where the concept of prototype inheritance aids us. Okay, how? Okay, so I'll show you how. So almost everything in JavaScript is prototypally inherited. Okay, how does that happen? You might have heard every variable in JavaScript is an object, correct? So what happens is every object has a hidden property. What is that hidden property? Every object has a hidden property called prototype. We see it here. So let's suppose I go to the browser. Okay, okay, so let's suppose I go okay, it is this property object, right? So let's suppose I go to the browser. Okay, when I'm going to the browser, let me initialize any object, right? It's an empty object. Let me initialize any array. It's an empty array, right? But what's there inside? You see this property prototype. It's a hidden property, prototype. So what is this empty object property referencing to? It's referencing to the parent object. What does that mean? So this see here object. So what happens is whenever I try to find something inside this, any property inside an empty or some property that is not inside here, what it will do is using this prototype, like it's a language feature, using this hidden property of an object, you'll see these all properties are of the parent object. Similarly, we'll see it here. For the array, we'll find these properties, right? So these are the inherited properties of array. So every array in JavaScript will inherit these properties because of this prototype. That is called prototype inheritance. Now I'll tell you how can we modify this. Okay, how can we modify this so that we can use it, right? So there's where this proto comes into play. Fine. So why do we want to modify, right? Why do we want to modify the prototype? So that we can do something that I mentioned here. We can reference some object, okay, without copy and pasting it. Okay, so let's suppose now I try referencing. So this prototype, this proto will aid us in referencing this object. Okay, this proto will help us in referencing this object. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Let's suppose I do something like cat dot move. What do you think will be the result? When I do cat dot move, is the property here? No. But since what I have done, I have prototypely inherited animal. What does that mean? I told you, right? So whenever there is a property that is not inside cat, it will reference this prototype animal and will get all the properties here. Okay, let's suppose I do cat dot move. You see, so this is the beauty of prototypal inheritance, and what we are doing here is we are chaining this object inside the prototypal inheritance of cat. Okay, so let's suppose cat dot eats, true, right? Where's this eats coming from? It's coming from animal. Here, dog dot move. Let's suppose I'm typing dog dot move. What's happening? It'll go inside and look inside the object. Is my property here? No, it's not here. So it'll reference the prototypal property animal. So then it will go inside the animal object and see if the property is there. Yes, it's there, and then we'll get the result. Fine. Now let's do one more thing. Okay, let's add one more thing to the animal chain. Sorry, the prototypal chain. Let's suppose I want to make a main character. Okay, I want to make this rabbit the main character. So what I want my main character to have is all the properties of rabbit, right? And some properties of main character. So I can just reference this rabbit here. Now see what's happening. This main character will reference the rabbit, and since rabbit is referencing the animal, my main character will have all the property of rabbit and animal. Let's look at through example. Main character dot move. What do you think will be the result? Yes, so it's referencing the animal property. So that solves the issue of having multiple copy paste. So we can just initialize this object once and inherit it, add it to the prototypal chain, right? And since every object has a hidden property called prototype, so we can using proto we can add any object to it. We can add any object to the prototypal chain. That's prototypal inheritance for you. Simple. I made myself clear and simply explained this topic. So I'll be making few more videos on JavaScript basic topics. Right. So stay tuned and please like, share, and subscribe.